Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about the arrowverse will officially come to an end next year in the year 2023, with The Flash having its last season, season 9, a shortened season of 13 episodes. You've known my feelings about the arrowverse. They're mixed. When it started off, I loved it and everything. But then, like every show, I like the first season. Some shows I like the second season. After that, I don't know what the world happened, but the shows just kind of like just didn't do it for me anymore. I made videos about like why, and stuff like that. So just go check those out. No point in me repeating myself and stuff like that. But like, I have like no ill will towards the Arrowverse. I mean, it gets on my nerves. The biggest thing ever is the long-winded speeches. The moment I hear one, I'm like, whoop, nope, gotta go. I can't take those no more, And that's what really did it for me with the Arrowverse and stuff. And so like, but every once in a while I kept popping back in just to check out like, the crossovers and stuff. Not every crossover is my favorite, but there are some really good ones in the beginning. And this show was at its true peak in the beginning. That's when the whole Arrowverse like universe was at its best, when it was at the beginning, when there really wasn't much competition out there and they really wasn't changing their formula. Once that formula kind of changed, the writing kind of got bad. I do rag on Greg Bertinelli every once in a while, but like he was really good in the beginning. But it's once he started stepping away and started doing other things and started building even bigger, that's when things started to crumble, I feel. But I can respect, even though I don't particularly like the Arrowverse no more, I can still respect what it stood for and everything like that. It stood for people who love superheroes. It stood for diversity big time. Sometimes diversity in the show didn't always feel genuine. Sometimes it just felt like, the network just checking off something. But for the most part, it gave people representation and stuff. And that's something you really don't see in a lot of other TV shows, even though they try to push that. And then you got those people who go against that and try to make you hate it all because of that. And at least they stuck to their guns and everything like that, And this thing started back in 2012, man. And it all started all because of a very popular character on Smallville and people loving the Dark Knight trilogy. And it's all how it started, man, with Green Arrow and everything. And they made him not so much like Green Arrow, but more like Batman. Broody, grumpy, but he was cool, you know what I'm saying? But Green Arrow was always a rip on Batman, even in the comics, until he had his own like flavor and stuff. And then, because they kept trying to make it as realistic and grounded with the whole like Nolan thing. And then they decided they're going to expand that. And then they, had to spin all the backdoor pilot of like The Flash. And that was started a whole superhero craze on this, because yeah, you got to give it up to them. They did something no other, like, really no network has done in terms of TV. They are the television equivalent of the MCU. They expanded into their own universe. They gave us superheroes we've never even seen on the big screen and rarely see on the small screen. And they gave those like heroes voices and stuff. Yes, they changed a lot of their personalities and stuff. Supergirl was basically just a ripoff of Superman. They wanted to make Superman but couldn't, so they made Supergirl, and they made her basically a clone of Clark Kent. I couldn't get that out because she didn't really have her fiery attitude like everybody know her from the comics. And then of course they just wanted to make another Batman show and couldn't do that. So then we got Batwoman, and the first season was rocky, very rocky. The second season was a little rocky, but I liked the third season. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wish they could have went in whatever direction they went. They should have just went back to what the formula was like in the first couple of seasons that made the show so great, so hard hitting, because they had competition on other networks and streaming sites, and they kept up for as long as they could. But you know, it's just like I always say when I talk about other stuff like Daredevil. It's kind of like Daredevil was so good, and their speeches never made me bored because they was very engaging. But the CW always had those mushy, long-winded speeches about feelings and destiny, and it felt like sometimes I felt like it was written for like mushy people, you know, and I just didn't want that, you know. And so when they was changing and they saw certain things wasn't working, they should have went back. But then they saw they had developed their own audience that did like that. So they kept pushing that. But then, you know, after a while, things just got silly and everything, especially with Legends of Tomorrow and even later seasons of The Flash. Like I'll pop in to see like what's going on. I'm just like, what the world am I watching and stuff? And then the CGI kept getting like worse as like years progressed, and that made absolutely no sense and stuff. And you know, then you know you have like the stars on the show, they were being disrespected, some of them because of their race and some of them because of their gender and some because of their sexuality. Then you had this one dude who was just like toxic in the past with his old tweets, and there are people still debating if he should get fired. Man, I saw some people talking about he should never get fired, and that's when I stopped watching the show. Keep your bigotry to yourself, all right? And no, it was not a silly time on Twitter during that year. This is who this dude was, plain and simple as that. And I'm glad he got fired. But then they started making these shows where the primary hero wasn't even the primary focus no more. Like the entire cast started being the primary focus, and then everybody started getting superpowers and stuff. And it just kind of got like too much, and people just started tapping out, man, you know. And but like I said before, I can still respect the fact of what they did, because what they did in the beginning was amazing, and they did something, like I said before, no other TV network or genre has done than TV before and stuff. They created this entire universe similar to that of the Chicago shows on NBC, you know. And so it just does kind of suck it had to go out like this. I mean, even to the point where your main stars are like, look, man, I'm done with this show. Like, I want out my contract. Then you know things are bad. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, The Flash will be the last. Now there are other superhero shows on the CW. There's Stargirl, there's Superman and Lois, and Gotham Knights is coming out. But those are not connected to the Arrowverse. Even though Superman and Lois really did feel like it was, especially after Crisis. So I don't know what the world happened with that. And there have been like one character that popped in from the Arrowverse and into Stargirl thing, and like, you know, and I guess those are different characters, just had the same face, and I get kind of tired when they do that sometimes. And you know, I don't care what anybody says, no, all these other DC properties are not part of the Arrowverse just because they came in Crisis. I stop doing that crap. I mean, even though Crisis was not my favorite crossover, you gotta admit, even as much as I can't stand Ezra Miller, that whole cameo just like blew my mind. It blew the internet's mind too, and everything. And you know, they really tried for whatever budget they had, but you know, there was things going on behind the scenes that caused some rumblings and stuff. And you know, it just is what it is and everything, you know. And it's just like, it lasted a whole lot longer than people expected. And even if you hate it or don't like it, you still gotta respect it. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace, Arrowverse. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.